All right, Mike, up been a great show already. We got a lot more to do as we open up the 2 o'clock hour here in Fort Lauderdale. Troy Aikman has done a great job with us. I've gotten incredible response to him being on all year in the 5 o'clock hour on Fridays. Troy, welcome, and thank you all year. You've done a great job for us. You did a lot for us with our football this year, so thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I really enjoyed coming on each week.
You did a great job. You really did, and fascinating that Viking game. There was so much there. You could take so much out of that game. Favre never runs. He could have run and gotten the yardage. I'm sure that haunts him. Throw it late over the middle. We talked for weeks about when that mistake would happen. It happened in the wrong place.
And I know Vikings fans don't want to hear this, but it almost, when you look at his career, it seems fitting that it kind of happened that way, you know. And it was a shame. I mean, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, I bet that they won't even be able to watch this game this week. I know what it's like to have lost in an NFC Championship game, and how painful that is then to have to watch the Super Bowl. But to have turned the ball over 4 times up to that point in the game, and if they had handled the last minute of the game better, then they go on and they'd be playing here this week. But having said that, great year for Brett Favre, great year for the Vikings.
And I was shocked. I don't know about you, Troy. I was shocked at how badly the Saints moved the ball in the second half. They couldn't move the ball at all.
They really struggled. They really struggled. And I think it'll be interesting looking at this game as to how well they'll do offensively, because it's hard to imagine watching what Indianapolis did against the New York Jets. It's hard to imagine them not being able to have a lot of success against the Saints defense.
I know they blitz all the time, these guys. Jets blitz 57%. These guys blitz 49%. I don't care. If you blitz him all the time, you're going home. I mean, you can't blitz him all the time.
And you know, they've got to mix it up. And then having said that, these quarterbacks, you know, speaking specifically of Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, but there's a lot of them around the league right now, that if they have time to throw the ball, then they're gonna carve you up that way as well. And so you've got to somehow make Peyton uncomfortable. You got to get him moving around. But you know, we've just seen it too many times. I said it earlier in the year when I was watching Peyton Manning. I believe he's the most consistent quarterback week in and week out, certainly that I've ever seen.
Regular season, I think now postseason you can bring in. Regular season, he's the best quarterback I think who ever lived. I don't think it's close. I think he's been on the highest level. His team wins so many games. He is so good. I think in regular season he's the best quarterback of all time. Now postseason we can have some talk, but regular season I think he's the best of all time.
Well, and it's hard to imagine, you know, with some quarterback, you know, you talk about Brett Favre earlier, and you say, okay, is Brett capable of going out there and yeah, we've seen that. But with Peyton, it's hard to imagine Peyton not having at least a really good game. You know, I mean, it's all relative. It's hard to imagine Peyton going out and not playing well in this game.
I want to give the folks a scary thought who like the Saints this week from one thought process. Revis took Wayne out of the game. Now Wayne plays. They have no one who can take Wayne out of the game. They played and put up that yardage without Wayne being a big factor in the game. He ignored Wayne.
That's right.
He just said, I'm not throwing the ball on Revis. I don't care. I'll throw to my other guys. The other guys were all open. Now you're going to bring Wayne into the game because there's no Revis. Revis is so good, it's ridiculous.
You know, Revis he's an amazing guy.
Oh, my God.
And, you know, I played with the guy who I think is the best corner that's ever lived.
I agree.
That is Deion Sanders.
I agree.
And I've never believed, you know, you hear a lot of talk about shutdown corners. But you know what? Revis is that guy.
I've only seen 2.
Yeah, me too.
Yours?
That's right.
You know, and that one. And I watched him all year this year. I watched every game. And I'll tell you something. There was not one receiver who took him to the cleaners the entire year. And you're talking about Owens, Moss, Andre Johnson shut down completely. Wayne, I don't care who it is. That guy stops. They don't even want to throw near him.
And I think the best part about him is, as hard as it might be to imagine, he's going to continue to get better because everything I hear, he's a wonderful young man.
Great kid. They're ripping up his contract.
Working hard.
They're negotiating right now.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's going to get his big money now. They don't even want to fool around with him. There's no question. Did you, as you're watching the second half unfold and the Vikings are dominating the game, did you think the Saints were going to find a way to hang in there, or did you think the Saints are in trouble?
Well, I think there was some concern. I mean, I think that anytime when you're in a game and the only reason that you're in it is because of turnovers.
They were never in trouble on the scoreboard.
Right.
But they were in trouble in every other way.
That's
they were
right.
getting pounded at the line of scrimmage, but
That's
they were okay on the scoreboard all day.
And then playing that game at home, certainly helps them with the crowd and everything and the emotional swings that take place. But, yeah, I think you kind of got the feeling that the Saints were going to be able to make a play to win it. But now when Minnesota was in the position that they were in, that if they get the field goal, then, it looked pretty dire.
How do you get 12 men on the field penalty when you're in field goal range, that part of the game coming out of a timeout? It's insane.
So many of these, what happens is these coaches want to try to disguise what personnel grouping they're going to put out there, and they didn't communicate it well enough on the sidelines.
I'd be sick if I was Childress. I'd be sick. The last 3 plays, if you could have any one of them back there, they're playing in this game, and they might have been the physically most talented team in the league this year, both sides of the ball. They've got a lot of good players.
A lot of good players, and there's not many weaknesses within that group, and that's why I say that game, they'll relive that last minute and a half of that game for the rest of their lives.